Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's go ahead and get back into precious metals as well as cryptocurrencies, because there's definitely something going on in the crypto market, which is one of the fears that I've always had about cryptocurrencies. More importantly, has gold been stronger than the dollar recently? I usually tell people when it comes to investing into precious metals, what you're really doing is preserving your wealth. I've given plenty of examples of this being true. If you've been with my channel for a while, I showed you back in 1932, you could have bought a house with, I believe it was 179 ounces of gold. And if you had that same 179 ounces of gold today, you still could buy a house. That's maintaining your value. Because I've had people go, oh, come on, Pimpy, when I bought it, it was up a little bit higher than it is, and then the price of gold went down, I lost X amount of dollars. I go, then you're investing into it for the wrong reason. But is there ever an opportunity in which gold prices can jump up and you can make a lot of money? Of course there is. We're going to get into that now. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Well, gold is definitely hands down the winner when it comes to safe havens. Look at this. Gold outshines other safe haven assets in Middle East conflict. So what are people turning to? It isn't the dollar, and it definitely isn't the 10-year treasury. It is gold. So what the heck is going on in the crypto world? Seriously, look at this. Bitcoin is down $4,074. I spoke about this before, and I said, hey, the one thing I don't like about cryptocurrencies, when these suckers take a hit, they take a huge hit. And it set a record. It was at $73,750 per coin. It is now to $62,725.61. That's one of the reasons why I advise people when you're dealing with cryptocurrencies, make sure you take out some of your profits as you go along in case something like this happens. So a week ago, it's at its highest point. And now it's already down, what is that, 14.5% since then? That's not like a little chunk of money. That's a pretty huge amount of money. But will Bitcoin rebound? Well, I don't know. It depends on what you believe in. If you look at the Wyckoff chart, this is normal. It'll go down and then go right back up to new highs. I can't tell you what to do to your money. All I can say to you is that I hope you took out some profits as you went along just in case. But yeah, most likely Bitcoin will rebound and it'll start to head back up. We'll keep a close eye on it and see if this is the case. Ethereum's at $3,225.27. Solana, man, talk about a jump. Solana's at $175.47. XRP, yeah, I know you guys were told it was going to be worth $500,000, and yet still lingers around 59 cents. It's been that way for a long time. Cardano's at 61 cents. Avalanche at $57.55. Dogecoin is at 13 cents. Shiba at 4025. Polkadot's at $9.01. Chainlink's at $17.37. Polygon is at 94 cents. And Litecoin is at $79.61. Terra Luna is at 3012. And there's a huge drop. I just want you to know, it was moving right along, SATA chain. It did not have that extra zero, and then all of a sudden has dropped down big time. So SATA chain is at 3 zeros. It's added a 0.99, but let's hope it starts to rebound soon. Gold is currently at $2,155.20 per ounce. Still the best investment in my opinion. Silver is currently at $25.10 per ounce. After I made all my adjustments to the spreadsheet, as of today, on Bitcoin, I'm still up $7,300. On Ethereum, I always tell you, look, Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin. Just because Bitcoin has the bigger value per token, that's not what you want to look at. You want to look at the percentage of gain. I still have $9,150 profit from the time I invested in it. I added some new ones on here. One is Brea Holding. It is currently at $1.61. Also, SRM Entertainment. at $1.14. So if you see zeros over here, that's why they were added earlier as I was doing some research. So Honeywell, I'm still up $718. Invictus just wants to torture me. Every time I look at this, I want to sell it. But man, something's telling me to hold on to it. Give it one more week. It's got to do something. It started to get into the green, and then all of a sudden we're back in the red. Nvidia, I'm still up $8,326. Drexion Gold, still in the green at $204. First Majestic, I'm up $1,205. Intelligent Biosolutions came down just a little bit, but I'm still up $59,166 from my original investment. So Vertex, I am up $990. Occidental Petroleum, I am still up $429. Vera Therapy, I am still up $19,071. Rumble, I'm still up $6,900. Netflix, I'm still up $4,000. Super Macro Computer, I am still up $22,061. This particular stock right here, the activity on it right now is so insane. It's not even funny. It is crazy insane compared to the other stocks. Triple Q, which is Invesco Q Trust, I am negative $252. So all in all, if you remove my original investment into these stocks, I still have $136,548.71 profit. Looking at gold, I'm still up $960, and silver, I'm up $963. If you add them into the mix, I'm up even more. I'm at $138,472.51. So what the heck is happening with Bitcoin? Exchange investigates flash crash that sent Bitcoin to 8,900. Flash crash? Yeah, I would say so. Could you imagine going, yeah, I was at 72,000 with Bitcoin. Wake up and see that it's only worth $8,900. People probably lost their freaking mind. So crypto exchange BitMEX said it is investigating unusual trading activity, including possible misconduct that led to a flash crash in Bitcoin on its platform. The price of Bitcoin against Tether USDT stablecoin fell as low as $8,900 on BitMEX last Monday. While the largest cryptocurrency was trading above 66,000 on rival venues, the price of Bitcoin on the exchange quickly recovered and has been trading in line with the rest of the markets ever since. So why on that one platform did it drop so low? A spokesperson for BitMEX said that the company investigated the incident and found evidence of aggressive selling behavior involving a very small number of accounts that exceeded expected market ranges, adding that its system had operated normally and all user funds are safe. Investigating potential misconduct by traders on our Bitcoin USDT spot market, the exchange said in a post on X platform. The exchange does not employ internal market makers, and the orders to sell Bitcoin were simply too big and frequent for independent market makers and other traders to react to, according to the same post. The incident had not impacted BitMEX's derivative markets, and no liquidations were triggered by it. So this video is Mike Mahoney. I played this video before, but I found a shortened version of it. I want you to listen once again why it is important for you to be holding on to gold and silver. People ask me, is there ever a time in which you can make money off gold instead of just preserving your wealth? Can it actually increase big enough to where you get a huge profit? Yes. Mike Mahoney's going to talk about that. Some of you who've been around me long enough have seen this video before, but I'm going to show you where it is today, 2024. This, I believe, is 10 years old, but listen to what Mike says and why it is you should be invested into precious metals. If you can afford it, especially gold. But because the gold to silver ratio is so out of whack and you can't afford gold, then definitely jump into silver. Here we go.
So I really think what you're going to see sometime before the end of this decade is a huge deflationary crash, and then countries will print their way right into hyperinflation, because what will happen is they'll print and nothing will happen. And they'll print and nothing will happen. Because as they print, people are still scared and they'll save that currency and they won't spend it. And they keep on printing, and in my book I wrote that, you know, like the US government could do helicopter drops. They could refund all the tax that you've ever paid in your entire lifetime. Eventually there will come a time where people say, you know what, I've got enough saved up for retirement and I really deserve a new car, or I really deserve a new big screen TV. And when people start getting comfortable and that currency comes out into circulation and velocity picks up, you can have a hyperinflation without having to have the countries print their currencies into oblivion. And so how does this affect you, and what can you do about it? This is where the opportunity comes, I believe. I believe in a currency crisis, there's going to be a wealth transfer. And for every 1,000 people that don't get prepared, the one person that does get prepared is going to reap rewards at a ratio of 1,000 to 1. There's going to be a wealth loss for the people that aren't prepared, and a wealth gain for the people that are prepared, and that it's just a transfer. There's going to be no currency necessarily changing hands, but what you're going to see is the value of currency plummet and the value of precious metals skyrocket. And that is a wealth transfer. And in the United States, there's nothing better that shows it than this graph. This is base money from 1918. The Federal Reserve doesn't supply data before that, all the way until 2 years ago. With QE3, this is up here now, and with the pullback in gold, this is down here. If you could take these lines back here, back to 1913, before the Federal Reserve, they converge. There was an equivalent amount of base money to gold at the Treasury. They expanded that, which was a lie, and then they had problems in the 30s, and there were bank runs. And they revalued gold in 1934 to 35 bucks an ounce, and the value of the gold at the Treasury once again equaled the value of all the paper currency, the base money in circulation. And then we go through World War II, this big expansion for World War II, and North Korea and Vietnam and Johnson's Great Society in the 60s and the 70s. And gold became free trading August 15th of 71. And the will of the public and the free market bid the value of the gold at the Treasury up until it once again equaled the value of all the currency in circulation. The opportunity is the spread between these two. This was the amount of opportunity. And so back in the year 2000, it was the greatest, it's as great an opportunity as existed here in 1970. But now with this pullback and the expansion of the currency supply that we've seen with QE3, we have the greatest opportunity in history laid at your feet right now. I believe that the stocks are a good thing, but I also believe that everybody should have some real physical gold and silver. I don't give advice. I never tell people what to do. But what I do is I buy gold and silver, physical. And so now, in a Kondratiev winter and in currency crisis, what happens is you wake up one day and the opportunity is gone. This is the Russian ruble from 1919 up until today, and there's these enormous revaluations. This is during the Russian Revolution, the revaluations of the currency. But look at the number of revaluations that they've had, and when you see the scale of these revaluations, it's just absolutely mind-boggling how much purchasing power the Russian government kept on stealing from their population.
Russia wasn't the only country doing that. The United States does it big time as well. I explained to you that gold never loses its purchasing power, but the dollar definitely does.
But what happens in a currency crisis, does anybody here, have they heard of long-term capital management? Okay, this was a hedge fund that blew up back in the late 90s, and it just about caused the entire world financial to melt down. We came within hours of everything freezing up, and no credit cards working, not being able to get anything out of your bank account, everything being shut down.
They already said everything being shut down. So that is possible. Those types of things could happen. So if everything shuts down and you can't use your credit cards, you can't use your ATM machines, are you prepared for a crisis like that? I've often said to people who listen to my channel, look, you should take all of your bills, add them up together, average it out over the next 6 months, and that's how much cash you should have on hand. For some of you, I get it, that's a lot. But I'm saying to be on the safe side. If this type of crisis happens and you can't get to your money, where does that leave you for emergencies? Where does that leave you for your bills? How far behind are you willing to get because of this crisis? Having 6 months worth of money on hand protects you and your family. Plus add on 10% for miscellaneous. There are going to be some things that pop up that you didn't think about. hidden or locked up somewhere safe in your house, in addition to both gold and silver.
What happened was Alan Greenspan got a bunch of very smart people and the world's big banks all together to bail out this hedge fund, and everybody found out about it after the deal was put together. When Lehman Brothers melted down, did you find out about it before it happened, or did you find out about it after the Federal Reserve and the Secretary of the Treasury and everybody got together and came up with a solution, and it was already dissolved, and other banks had Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers? I mean, what happens is there's an emergency, and a very few people keep it secret, and they try and solve the problem, and then you wake up in the morning, problem solved. Well, what happens in a currency revaluation is there's an emergency going on behind the scenes. The public doesn't know about it. A few people get together in a room and they decide that the solution of the problem is to make gold, for instance, in this thing, the coming currency crisis. You might see gold go from where it is to, say, $8,000 an ounce, or $7,000, as Jim Rickards believes, or maybe $15,000 an ounce, like I think might happen. That's what it requires for that base money to cover the currency supply again, is about 15 grand an ounce or higher.
Now this is 9-10 years ago. He's saying $15,000 an ounce for gold to cover the money supply. Keep that in mind.
The revaluations can be blindingly quick, and they can add up to some mind-boggling figures. This is the Russian revaluations. If you went back to Peter the Great, when he established the gold Russian ruble, and then the revaluations that happened during the Russian Revolution, 10,000 to 1, 100 to 1. In other words, your old currency is no longer useful. You have to bring it into the government and exchange 100 Canadian dollars or American dollars or whatever for one of the new currency that the government is coming out with. And then 50,000 to 1.
We see that happening with the Iraqi dinar. If they do a redenomination, they're going to tell you what the ratio is going to be. If they're going to drop to zeros, they're going to tell you your 25,000 dinar is now only 25. So you have to bring in your 25,000 dinar, you'll exchange it for a 25 dinar. That's 1,000 to 1 ratio.
3 revaluations in this short period during the Russian Revolution. Then 10 to 1, then 10 to 1, and then 1,000 to 1. And when you add all of these together, 1922, 23, 24, 47, 61, and 1998, this went along with the long-term capital management problem. This happened 1 year after the long-term capital management problem, and long-term capital management contributed to the Russian default that caused this currency crisis, where the Russians, they ended up with 0.1% of their purchasing power after this currency conversion. 1,000, you bring in 1,000 of your current Russian rubles that you thought were worth something when you went to bed that night. You get up the next morning, you got to bring them into the bank, and you get to trade those 1,000 for one of the new ones. And what that adds up to is the Russian ruble was devalued 5 quadrillion times over that time frame. This is the amount of theft that governments can perpetrate on their populations. So the opportunity sometimes comes in a bull market that progresses and then peaks, and then you go into a bear market. That's in a Kondratiev summer. In a Kondratiev winter, many times it's a currency crisis that requires an overnight, lightning-fast revaluation, and the opportunity does not exist after that. I believe, though, that what will happen is you're going to see people, if gold did get revalued suddenly to $15,000 an ounce, the opportunity is gone there, but where is silver? So I think right after a revaluation, you would see people flooding into silver.
Now I've shown a longer version of this video. Like I said, this one here says this one was posted 9 years ago. I believe this conference was in 2014, so it's a little bit older. He's showing you the monetary base versus the price of U.S. Treasury gold. These gaps are where he's talking about your opportunity to make a lot of money between gold and where our monetary base is. Here. Now, look where this one is. So where is this? This is 2012. Okay. There's been 11 years since then. You want to see what the current gap looks like? Look at this gap between a money supply and gold. That's much bigger than what he showed you. And back then he was saying it would take at least $15,000 per ounce of gold to close this gap. That was back then when the gap wasn't so big. It's much, much bigger. But it's like he said, you might get lucky and you get a bull market and then it goes up quickly over time. Or you might go to bed one night, wake up and boom, it's happened overnight. They decide to revalue gold, and an opportunity for you to catch that bandwagon has been lost because you procrastinated. That opportunity has been lost for you to make a huge amount of money in a short period of time. Now, having said that, if you wake up in the morning and you see that gold, such a huge jump in value, well then, as you well imagine, silver is right behind it. The theory is if they revalue gold, they're going to revalue silver, reset the historical ratio, which is 15-1. If that's the case, then that means it's going to take 15 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. Just for the sake of it, let's say that gold revalues to 15,000 like he's talking about. If the ratio is 15-1 and gold is at 15,000, that leaves silver at 1,000. Gold goes up gradually and comes down gradually, and silver is like a spastic kid on sugar. It goes up quick and comes down pretty quick. What we want to do is pay attention to the ratio. The ratio has been out of whack now for a little while, and it is ridiculously out of whack right now. Silver has way more use than gold does. There's a worldwide shortage on silver. That's why I always say invest in silver. In my opinion, over time, you're going to see silver pass up gold in value just because of the multiple uses that silver has compared to gold. That's just my opinion. It may sound wacky, but when you look at the industrial uses, our national security uses, all the green energy uses, it's hard to see it any other way except for eventually it passing up gold in terms of value. Anyways, I thought I would just share this with you again because I wanted to show you where we are now compared to where this was happening in Mike Mahoney's video. Anyways, that's it for now. You guys leave a comment and I'll get back at you later. I'm out.